What's poppin', people? Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. It's your boy back at it once again. Emphasis on once again, because if you think I sound different, it's because I'm on the microphones that we use for the case tournament, and my dumbass unplugged my microphone and then forgot to plug this one in. So this is take two. I know what happens, but this game, giga banger, or at least the set. We got Imperial, we got Birds, we got two faces of the scene doing what they do best. Putting on a show. We've got a Veemon in the back and a Veemon. So of course that Veemon is going to cost one. So we're going to get the two back with the Veemon hitting the search, finding the Imperialdramon. And this one's still like a pretty aggro list, I would say. Looks like we're going to see the Daiken to set up for DNA. Swing in, hit a Hammer Spark. No Megadeth to be seen anywhere. So the rookie is still going to make it back, but I mean, it's a lot of actions that just suddenly get taxed off. So that offense training is actually going to pass turn rather than being the setup for the next turn. So it still slows him down a decent bit, but speaking of slow, the Davis, not ideal. I'm going to see the Imperialdramon just pass over one. Imperial can do it from here, so you can see he's just looking to see how much memory he can get out of this. Start of main, we're going to gain one off the Davis, and then Veemon is going to be setting up to give us more memory. Hammer Spark. And we're going to go into the Imperialdramon and the Davis tap, or the Daiken tap, to try and reduce the cost. Obviously, it's not a blocker, so that Imperialdramon isn't going, or the Garudamon Ace isn't going to pop it. But Garuda X certainly will. That's going to put them pretty far behind. Obviously, it was a pretty scuffed Evo line. Imperialdramon never likes being non-DNA. Just going to search. And yeah, we're just going to scoop up and go into game two, because there's so little he can do from the situation.
Matrix Digivolution.
Yeah, today's sponsor is me. I appreciate everyone supporting me as they have, and there are plenty of other ways to support. The memberships, Twitch Prime, and all of that are great ways to do so, and just making sure that in addition to slapping like down and making sure you are subscribed, there are plenty of other things that I do that I really love doing and take a lot of work, and appreciate if you guys also gave them a shout and gave us some honest feedback on them, because the only way we can make them better is if people tell us what they like and dislike. But yeah, that's it for today's sponsor. Appreciate you if you didn't skip it. Back to the video.
Whilst they are setting up, though, on the shuffle, I do want to say thank you to everyone that has been allowing me to do what I do daily. Appreciate it. It is my full-time job, and I do love doing it. Thanks to the Mega at the top of the tier, who is a tier 3 on Twitch. This was on our ultimate here on YouTube. For our ultimates, we do have the Tommy NT, Tommy Tricks on the sticks, 3 Strike Rule, and Bradley Rob. Then at the champion tier, getting that bonus content 1 month early from the podcast, we do have Shinny Carry over on the right, Coffee Deus, DHM, Solar Ouroboros, Seb Bainbridge Coombs, Thomas Yates, Andy Fing, Squid Eater, and Benji Gibber. Big thank you to all of you for helping me do what I do daily. Whilst Narcio is getting set up, we do have the Veemon and the Daiken played straight away. And then it's going to be a Veemon and a Imperialdramon. Still got memory to play with, and just going to get to the choke to 1 as the ace comes out. Passing it straight back there with the XV. Next turn should be go time as long as we find a piece. Just a Garuda, so not too much of an extension off the offense training. Keeping the number small to make it so that it's pretty hard for them to do anything. And another Imperialdramon without the green source. This time Evoing in the back though, so the Garuda X that comes out of raising doesn't just immediately smoke its pack. That kind of leaves him in a weird situation. He doesn't have the X antibody or the Phoenixmon here, so this is going to pass over a pretty rough amount of memory, and there's no end of attack on deletions. It, of course, does live. Looks like we're going to swing without using the Daiken or anything like that. And hitting into the Tamer, not ideal, but the second check still pretty decent. Ignore that Imperialdramon, as we're going to go into the Chase Rare to get the suspension on the Tamer that popped out of security, so he still actually gets to keep on playing. But it looks like we're either missing the ace or wanting to not pay the Evo. Gonna swing, hits another Tamer, and we're just going to pass over the exact memory needed, as we are going to double hit into a Imperialdramon and a Daiken. It can unsuspend, because it's not like it was locked down by any DNA effects. And that's kind of interesting to see where Marcy is actually going to go from here. 3 memory doesn't afford you a lot. Since it is sideways though, trying to swing 13 over 12 if he doesn't have the ace is the way to go. But unfortunately, now that because there's no X antibody, it didn't have the extra source to be taller than even this non-partition Imperialdramon ace. The double 6 certainly helps up because it's equal to or fewer. So unfortunately, a lot of memory that gets stolen there and a lot of tempo. Looks like we're just going to spend the 4 to play out the Tamer. Better than just hard playing her. It does threaten something on board and crucially also leaves an ace available. We are going to have the Lydramon picked up by the Veemon, and it looks like we're going to put a Wormmon in the back. He is going to establish here first though, because yeah, you're spending the memory, but you're going to gain it straight back and you get to go up into the level 5 and you get to gain 1. Of course, getting that lockdown as well on the board in case anything bad happens. And speaking of bad things happening to good people, we are going to have the minus 5k and then a security was removed, so it is going to hit for an 8k and pop it, which does pass turn off the overflow, but of course can't unsuspend thanks to the Imperialdramon, which does mean that Marcio's not really on a huge crackback turn, but still, it's decent value that gets achieved on both sides there, as the ace was really, really clean. So I'm going to pop the training to turn that Veemon into a Birdramon. I believe we saw it pick up a... It was either a Garuda or a Phoenix. Alright. Card was returned to hand, so Sora. Going to bounce to play out a Birdramon to get the blocker. Then we have a Garudamon as a blocker as well. This time we are going to get the pop on the Imperialdramon once the card is added back to hand. But unfortunately, we're not under the minus 5k blanket. You're going to have the Sora to bounce back and play a body to hand, but first we get our partitions. X-Antibody is going to go into the Phoenixmon, and then Phoenixmon is going to swing. We are going to hit the Davis first, which is massive, because if that was the second check, that joint is getting burned. Going to get to play something out. The Phoenix gets the pop on 1, but also the Inherits get the pop. Trashes security, trashes a Wormmon. And that might be everything. Okay, still one card left to get added back from trash. We're going to have the Veemon. Are we going to bounce the Sora to make it happen? I think he's just thinking on whether he wants to commit the body to board. We don't have a Christie, so the Veemon warp isn't going to do anything. So just going to pass turn on 2. Going to play the Veemon for free, and then we're of course going to gain a memory from there being a free type. Oh, double Hammer Spark. It's just so filthy. How do you react to something like that? We're going to get the suspension as well, thanks to the Lydramon, so it does suspend the Birdramon blocker, and of course the Garudamons are all suspended. Everything now is suspended, and we get to strip out one ace with the Tamer, strip out the X antibody, and then strip out the Garuda X, which kind of neuters that bird pretty heavily. Gaining back the memory as well, just so much value out of that play. Facilitated by double Hammer Spark. We are going to swing. It does pop an 8k though, but we're going for the throat. As Imperialdramon going to take us to game 3. Whilst they're getting shuffled up for game number 3 and getting ready to finish things out, I want to say a finishing thank you to both the rookies and the Digi-Eggs, unsung heroes that for a very little amount a month you can support me and help me do what I do daily. So big thank you to Greatness Beam and Ryan Balfi. And then also for our Digi-Eggs, we do have Jambo TCG, John Esposito, Rose Pierce, Walter Caceres, Christian Royal, Sol Andres Sainz, and Yuxo. Alright, both of them actually keeping those hands. So in we go to the final game. Veemon and training. We're pretty used to seeing stuff like that. Just going to see the Phoenixmon picked up the Akiho sent to the base and passing back with the 1. Only picks up the XV, doesn't get the Davis or anything like that. So not a quick high roll, and the Akilamon going for the delete on a 3k or less helps him just kind of fight for board. Since the Daiken's going to be basically able to spit them out on his own terms, it's better to get them down ASAP. And next up we're going to see the Garuda Ace play out the Sora and an XV in the back. And we're going to make Imperialdramon raw for the 3rd game in a row. Just showing that you don't have to proc your when digivolving. Sometimes you can just build a 5 and go to town. Phoenix is going to play out the Christie, which is going to give it the deletion protection, but no on deletes to be triggered here and no end of attack on deletes. So what are we playing to finish? Just an offense training, 1 legal target. Goodbye, Protoform. And out we push on 1. It's going to swing on suspend. Since it is at level 6, you don't really have to worry about it. And he does get rewarded with a Protoform straight away. Very cringe. And we're going to go into the Dragon mode. So it's going to lock down the Phoenix. But the Tamer, of course, is going to just get to unsuspend. Veemon to pitches off the Imperialdramon, and does find the Phoenix off of that. And we're going to go into the Saberdramon. So the Saberdramon is actually a really solid bait here because it does force out the ace. Obviously, getting rid of the Phoenixmon would have been ideal, but because there's no partition, did have to go for the actual swamping of the Saberdramon. So 3 costs basically to make sure that you get to keep your main stack is pretty worth it, I would say. For security and the ability to swing twice, not really anything he needs to worry about, but the problem is can still bottom deck the Phoenix, but by putting the X over it does mean he gets a little bit more control over what he gets. And more importantly, he gets to heal off the damage that Imperial did. So this Imperial effectively did just 1 check despite suspending twice, and all it did was add the X antibody straight back. So we're going to have the Davis get picked up off the Veemon to pass. Still though, not really in a position where they can do crazy amounts of value because of course it was bot deck deletion rather than deletion. So didn't get to replay a Veemon off of the Christie or anything like that. Speaking of Veemons, we are not going to be playing one and keeping turn instead. We're going to go for the offense training. So just double checking to see what's in trash. And it is going to be the Garuda. And down comes the Veemon. Veemon searching top 3. Is going to find one of its own. And from 3 damage, I'm going to get a free play. Does find the Imperialdramon, which does kind of make me feel that we are going to be ending things out here. Again, going to be making the Imperial stack first. Going to go straight back into pile with the memory printer. Get the lockdown, the suspension. Swing, unsuspend. Gets the 1 check jamming. We're going to swing again. Then we're going to HPD the other body, which is going to then spit out the 2 bodies. Memory printer go whir. Get to go into 3 more. Swing or suspend and swing. If you did like what you saw and you do want to see more, then hit the like button whilst you're double checking to see if you are subscribed. If you're not subscribed, then click that button. You know you want to. It helps you break less and also improves my day. Helps me do what I do daily. As always, gang, we'll see you in the next one and have yourselves a damn good one.